What's up, everyone? Happy Labor Day weekend. Hope you guys are all sourcing the way you should be. We got lots of deals going on. I got the man Chris Grant, the man Garrett, all out Amazon with me for some Q&A for the nice little matinee session here, 5 p.m. Eastern on all that. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in right there, and we'd love to help with this stuff. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Okay, so the person where maybe they started a few months ago, right? Maybe they missed Memorial Day weekend, Easter, stuff like that. How should they be approaching, these holiday weekends where there's a lot of good manual sourcing opportunities, even if they might not know their favorite websites yet or what websites have good discounts, that kind of thing?
Try not to get overwhelmed. First of all,
Yeah.
it's way too easy. I posted a link that CNN put out of 255 Labor Day sales going on, and I can guarantee that's probably not even half of them. I mean, as a new person, I would honestly just pick, I don't know, maybe a dozen different sites and go to the sales section, find any extra coupon codes you can get, find any discount gift cards, and then just go slow. Like, I think there's a lot of people who want to scale really, really fast, but I would say see what happens to these types of products when there are these massive sales. I see people on Twitter talking about, let's drop 10 grand today, so there's probably going to be a little bit of price erosion, and I know that can scare newer folks. So go a little bit wider. Don't go crazy on any one deal that you find that is amazing, and spread that cash around a little bit.
Well, I think it's also worth noting, right? And I talk about this a bunch. When we're buying and sourcing from like these big site-wide sales, you have to mitigate your risk. You have to front load that risk mitigation as much as possible. Meaning, right, if your standard business criteria is call it 12 or 13% margin, 15% margin, whatever it is, right? Well, that same margin is not going to hold true. It shouldn't be the same expectation if you're buying from a site that's 30% off across the board, right? Because there's different levels to this sort of thing, right? So if I'm looking at Nikes.com sale and I see a product that's 30% off, right? I need to bake in, similar to how we do it with shoes and things like that. I need to do at least like 2 or 3x your typical margin to account for what you call the price erosion, right? That kind of tanking of the market, right? We want to mitigate and like plan for what's inevitably going to happen, right? You know it's going to happen. If you don't adjust for that and make plans for that, well, I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Sure. And the way I like to think about it is that a lot of these retailers will have the same sales or at least very similar each time a holiday comes around. So the nice thing is you can see the past data on a product, right? So you can see if there's been a big spike in competition in the past, and it makes perfect sense that the easier an item is to find, the more competition there's going to end up being, right? So the ideal situation, right, is say, especially if you're newer, right, where you don't have a ton of experience and a ton of context around the performance of different items, right, is it's on sale for Labor Day, and I can combine it with the coupon that I find on Google or I find on Capital One Shopping, and maybe even add in a discounted gift card, especially if you're buying smaller quantities from Card Cash, Raise, etc., Top Cash Back, where you can take advantage of that. So it's important to note that, the easier a product is to find, the more competition there's going to end up being right there. But the more complications you can add to that, the more profit you'll end up being. What's nice too is all these fellas and myself, we all have a lot of sourcing content you guys can watch to get better and get reps in as well. And through tomorrow night, Labor Day evening, and even like Tuesday, a lot of these retailers are going to have their sales going on. So you can get in a lot of practice and a lot of proof of concept very quick right here. Good evening from Lakeland, Florida. Good evening, Kevin. What up, P-Dubs?
I think Keep a Product Finder, specifically with some of these site-wide sales, make it so easy to consume and digest the information, right? Because Keep a Product Finder is like a lens, a goggle, right? And so if we're talking about like Under Armour or maybe Vitacost or like any of the like the brands with a site-wide sale, well, if you can, Under Armour, for example, if you filter specifically by Under Armour products, right, you're already drilling into that specific site, knowing the price is going to be adjusted on the back end. And so initially, really, you just have to qualify based on velocity, right? If we think about products by velocity and price, we use Keep a Product Finder to narrow our results based on quality of product, based on like velocity with our Amazon, all those sorts of things. Well, naturally, we're going to have a subset of products where we know makes sense without the price, and then we rely on the discount on the back end, right? And so that's just one way to really create efficiencies within your sourcing, and Keeper Product Finder allows us to do that, right? It works with a lot of the other sites too. So Vitacost, for example, right? Vitacost has a brand, Vitacost, that anyone that buys Vitacost, the actual brand is getting from that specific site, right? So the same thing holds true. If Vitacost has a 10% off, 50% off sale, right? Even though Vitacost has a lot of brands, if you pinpoint Vitacost's brand, use that as an entry point, well, that's naturally going to lead you to other opportunities, right? Because if sellers are buying the Vitacost brand, they're probably doing some other sourcing on that specific site, leading you to other opportunities, leading you to learn information and learn from those sellers, and kind of picking their stores apart.
Well, I think another important thing too, and I like your idea about kind of following those rabbit trails, but uh, we got to be honest. Most Amazon sellers are lazy. Okay,
Very true.
so it can be a superpower if you do it right, but a lot of times it's not. So on these sales, you're going to find people looking for the absolute lowest hanging fruit. Maybe it's the single pack of an item that you find that's 30% off, and maybe you get another 10% off coupon code or whatever. And that's what they're going to go for. And that's what most everyone else is going to go for too. If you dig a little bit deeper, if you scroll down SellerAmp search results just a little bit farther, you might find the 3-pack, the 4-pack, the 6-pack. Maybe it doesn't sell quite as well, but maybe the competition is never as high either, which means that the price erosion doesn't happen quite as badly or doesn't happen at all. And all it took was a scroll, where a lot of people are just not going to do that.
Yeah, completely. And taking the time to Google a specific website and find the extra coupon code that they do have, which is, I mean, by far the best way to do it, because then it's probably going to be around for a while. Like, for example, a good example of that is if any of you guys Google Foot Locker coupons right now, you're going to see the first option in Google is footlocker.com/coupons. That's been around for years right there. And then you'll be able to take advantage of that for years, right? And most websites have something like that. You just got to get creative to find it. Right there. Hey, I'm out here trying retail arbitrage right now. Awesome. You're out there in the field right there. Cool. Getting the scans in right there.
Dude, I wish when I was doing retail arbitrage that I had the ability to be able to listen to like YouTube lives and stuff like that. Being able to pump like live information into my head while I'm out trying to practice.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sir. How do you manage the pricing of your product? If you see a lot of sellers getting on it, most likely they're going to tank the price, right? It depends. Typically, yes. However, it depends on, like how many reviews those sellers have, how quickly you need that money back, how easy it was to find originally, which will lead potentially more people to get on it, so on and so forth. But if you're running into a lot of issues with that, you need to use more coupons, and you also need to mix in FBM on that too. It was great meeting you at ASD. Boom. Oh yeah, Nick, I remember you. Nice. You're at the SellerAmp event. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Okay.
The other. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So the other.
Bro says go ahead and then just keeps talking. You got it, family. You got it.
I was gonna say the other cool thing about a lot of these products is they kind of operate in cycles, right? And so backpacks, for example, you can see the offer count inflections and kind of spikes and stuff like that, and how the price reacts, right? And so not every product is going to drop in price when the offer count increases, right? Some of the products just move enough, and Miles talks about this enough, where the demand can really withstand.
I mean, withhold, kinda. Yeah.
The offer count increase, right? And so typically how it works, right? Sellers join a market, right? A lot of people find it, drops the price, people fall off, raises the offer count. And so it kind of goes this like up and down motion, but not all products are going to do that, right? And so look in the history, look how the price point reacts to different offer count trends. And that's going to be a good indication of what's to come as well.
One other thing I might suggest too is, and this is something that I was guilty of for a very, very long time, but have a plan ahead of time. Price erosion, it happens on Amazon. I mean, that is why Amazon wants third-party sellers. They understand that with competition, and with if the trend line or the sales velocity stays the same, but competition goes up, the price has to come down. I mean, it's It's literally an economic law. Okay. And that's why Amazon wants us there. But if you have a plan ahead of time, you get to take the emotion out of the equation, because our business should not be run on emotion at all. You should not be emotionally attached to your inventory, and you need to have a well thought out plan of what you're going to do. Maybe that is, you know what, once it gets to X point, I'm going to drop my price and I'm going to get out of this product. Or you say, well, you know what, I've got enough capital. I'm going to let these sit around for X number of days, and then it's time to liquidate my inventory, because I just want that capital back to make up for any lost opportunity. But have that plan now. That way you're not on your heels trying to figure out, what do I do when you're run out of sourcing capital.
Boom.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, right? Because if your business is worth $1,000 and you have 500 tied up in one specific product, well, you have a lot less luxury to kind of wait and be patient than if someone else's business is worth $200,000 and they have that same $500 tied up in that same product, right? So part of it is just your ability to be liquid. Early on, you have to really maximize every single dollar in your business, right? It means more because you have to be really quick and agile and pivot quicker when product markets go awry, right? But if you have some longevity, you have hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s worth of inventory, you have the ability to be a little bit more patient.
Okay, here we go. I'm a new seller, been stuck trying to get ungated. It's a little discouraging. Yeah, I mean, just follow the tutorial that's in the description. It'll break down exactly how to do that the way it works for everyone else. So you'll be good to go. And that sometimes takes a couple submissions too. What's the minimum sales per month on a listing you hop on? How many sales per product is something you jump on? So I'm more of a sales rank guy. For the most part, me personally, these days, I'll rarely get on something above like 50 to 75K. However, you can see on Keepa charts, even if products like 100K rank, 150K rank, you can still see movement, competition going down, price jumping up, etc. That suggests that that product is selling and even selling well in some cases. So yeah, it's more so just how the Keepa chart specifically looks, because some stuff has variation, some stuff doesn't. But as a good rule of thumb, for the most part, you want to stay under 100K. But that's not to say that products above that don't sell, and that as a beginner, you might want to go after that stuff. And you have a really good answer on that, Chris, too. So you want to spit some game on this right here?
Sure. So I like to take a different approach, and I'm not against your approach whatsoever. But I'll be quite honest. When I first got started, that's kind of where I was.
Yeah.
And it was like 50K, because the catalog was like a third of the size it is now on Amazon. But I take what I like to call a catalog approach, or you could call it, a Vanguard approach if you want to. And I'm just looking for products that make me X number of dollars per month. Let's just say it's $100 for easy math. If I can sell 3 items per month at, $33 in profit per unit, I will buy those products.
This is something I
maybe that means that maybe there's 4 other sellers, maybe there's 10 other sellers, maybe there's 50. But if I think I can just capture 3 sales to get me that $100 a month, I'll do it. And then hopefully that will turn into something that I can replenish over time.
Oh, don't use that word. That sends new people for a whirlwind.
You got it. That's a good thread topic, Chris. I don't know if you've written one on that, but that'd be a really good piece of content right there. FBM versus FBA going into Q4, both, and as much as possible of both of them. But once December rolls around and we start to see December 3rd, 5th, 10th, etc., you're going to be primarily FBM on that. But the further we are away from December, the more FBA you're going to have to be, just because it's going to be more difficult to get the buy box. Luckily, you can very, very easily test stuff FBM for 48 hours, check those listings and see if there's other sellers on that are FBM already. If there are, they're probably getting sales, and you'll be able to see that on Keepa right there. Amazon. Oh, you were saying, G?
I was going to say, speaking of threads, your thread today was sick. I like how you laid it out. Like the flow of that was super cool.
The Amazon United one, or the one from last night?
No, Chris's today.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Think I retweeted. My bad. I didn't read it. Okay.
Yeah. Sweet. It was like, are you looking for, here's a specific product that is really worth checking out. You want to learn how to find it? Here's how. And they kind of like walk you through step by step.
That's what's up. Looking into buying a domain to set up a catch-all. Yeah. So technically the way domains work is you technically rent them from the internet, like the domain hosting. So I'd be shocked if there's any sort of or you're going to pay a fee to buy it and then a fee to maintain it. I think how it works. This should be like, you might pay like, $100. If you're buying it purely for a catch-all, buy something that's $1 or $12 from GoDaddy. Then it should be like, $12 a year to get hat host, I guess.
Mr. Wi-Fi is the king of domains.
King of domains, yeah. And he's not afraid to snipe them from you too. When a listing is 100,000 or less and a variation of 1% or less, how many would you buy of an item like this? I don't want dead inventory. So Scott, all you need to do is look at the Keepa chart to gauge the movement on that. Something might be less than 1% of the reviews, but it also might have only been around for 163 days when the rest of the listing has been around for 1,000 days or 2,000 days, right? 3 years, 5 years, etc. Right there. So the Keepa chart is going to be the best determinant of velocity for a specific variation right there.
It's also super relative, right? If we're looking at a shoe, for example, the top variation may have, 15, 20%, but that top variation may also be competed with by 50 sellers, right? So if 1,000 sales are going to that size 8, that's white, that's getting 15% of the reviews, but there's 50 sellers competing for those sales, well, that's a whole lot interesting than maybe if you scroll down a bit, go to the size 13, that maybe is only selling 100, 150 times, 50 times a month, but there's only 2 people on that variation, right? And so when you're doing and going through your variation analysis, it's really a kind of a 3-part equation. It's price point, right? Because that's going to be different across every variation. It's competition, and then of course, obviously, relative velocity going to each of those. But it's really all 3 of those that contribute to tell the story of the variation. It's not singularly what the price is. It's not singularly how many sales or how much ratings are going to a specific variation. It's all 3 of those, and they all really come together cumulatively to tell it.
Boom. Seller Imp is invaluable for RA and OA. Not sure on the teaming up necessarily, but I mean, I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. Right there for retail arbitrage. How could I expand from $1,000 a month in sales up to 10K? Do more of what's working and do less of what isn't working, right? If you're watching the stream, clearly, you're committed to this and such, right? So at the end of the day, the driving factor is going to be buying good products and selling through that inventory. It's a 2-part equation. Right there. So do more of that and good things are going to happen. It's also important, my friend, as you're really early in this journey, you got to understand it's going to be so much easier 6 months from now. It's going to be so much easier 12 months from now if you commit to the process. And that's what a lot of people mess up is it's tough when you're going in and scanning at Ollie's the first time to understand that the evolved version of that is getting a text from the Ollie's manager, yo, we just got a pallet of this. And then you drive over and you pick it up and you make $3,000 that day or whatever. Meanwhile, right now you're slaving away because you got to learn and you got to pay down that ignorance tax right there. Yeah, you can do it without a team for sure, although that might help down the line. How much money oh, yeah.
I was just going to say for FBM cost, if it's less than a pound, it's going to be like $4 or $5 to ship.
Yeah.
If it's more than a pound, like $8.
Yeah. So it depends. Damn, Nick, you should have done some backpacks, man. We talked like 2 weeks ago about that, you totally should have done some backpacks. Right there, but up to 4 ounces, it's going to be around 3, up to 7 ounces from 4. It's going to be around 4, 8 to 12. It's going to be around 5, 12 to 15. It's going to be around 6. Above 1 pound is where we get into the UPS ground territory. And that's going to be in like the 9 to 13 range, depending on what state it's going to.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe
there.
A little less for USPS ground advantage. I've been doing a few eBay orders lately and, it has been fantastic.
What are we talking? Because I haven't done much FBM since that came out.
I shipped a PS5 controller, which was 1 pound, and I think it cost me $4.97 or something.
Fantastic. Okay,
and it's
cool,
fast.
Cool. All right, fantastic, cool, even better then. Yeah. Definitely. And the nice part is over time, you'll probably be selling a lot of similar items, Nick. So you'll be really nicely dialed and have a great estimate. How much does it cost to recall inventory? I can't remember. What determines the price? Definitely the size and how far it's gone.
Yeah. Amazon's got they have a graph. If you look up recalling inventory or, similar keywords inside Seller Central.
Boom. Struggling with sourcing. How often do you find product to sell? If I'm dialed in, doing it on my own, probably about every 5 to 10 minutes. But I am incredibly well connected, tapped in with a lot of Amazon sellers. So I constantly know what good deals are going on, etc. Because I've built that leverage for myself, made friends with these guys, made friends with other folks, etc. Right. So yeah, basically, right. It should be pretty quick though once you get good at it. But right now, it's not going to be a lot because there's a good chance you don't know any other Amazon sellers. There's a good chance you have no feedback loops with other Amazon sellers, so you have to work a lot harder than we do because we've put in the time. And so
that experience compounds so significantly, and you really underestimate it until you are there, right? You know what brands work, you know where to go, maybe different sizes of stuff you've already sold, different variations, different flavors of stuff you've already sold, right? You have storefronts that you can leverage that are pretty smart, that are buying and selling the same sorts of things, right? So all these things really compound and create such a massive advantage when you're 6 months, 8 months, 10 months into the game, right? That's why we talk about all the time how important it is just to simply stay patient and hold your breath. Hold your breath long enough and hit enough singles that give you the opportunity to get lucky with a couple home runs. And that's where it gets really fun.
All three, I assume, right, Chris? Right. And
yeah. So if let's say my target profit is $100 split between 3 sales a month, how many am I going to buy at once? I'm probably only going to buy 1 month worth of inventory.
Yeah.
Because I may be really, really good at reading Keepa graphs, but I am no good at knowing what the market may do in the future, and nobody is. So let's say I buy 3 units of a product, it looks perfect, and then all of a sudden let's say it goes viral on TikTok for one reason or another, and 200 sellers come on the listing. Well, that's what's going to happen. The price is going to tank. I'm the old guy here. And so my risk tolerance is a lot different than these guys probably are. I got to make sure my family's fed. So I don't care to put more than 3 to 5% of my available cash into any one single ASIN. Just like in a Vanguard mutual fund, you've got your money mixed around to, all these different stocks. So that's where I like to go.
Okay. How common is it for one of your listings to go suppressed? Is that a frequent thing? Not a frequent thing. It'll happen here and there. Reach out to Amazon and there's a good chance they'll remove it. Right
Chris,
there.
are you moving?
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Are you moving?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
cool,
I am on Tuesday. We move into the new house.
All right.
Very
So
nice.
potentially the last stream. Oh, shit. Tuesday's like, oh, wow. So this is the last stream then. Okay.
This is the last stream at this house.
Cash sellers for sure have an advantage because typically they did something to get the cash, so they're more skilled, right? They probably have a better work ethic, etc. So you're completely right. Wherever you're buying all these appliances from, which is probably Kohl's. Honestly, Kohl's will definitely work. For that ungate, those are probably carried at Home Depot, Lowe's too. Those will definitely work as well. Okay, interesting. Now here we go. Okay. I'm actually curious the answer on this. So I know other people are selling Liquid IV. So Liquid IV probably doesn't IP complain, but what would be the process brand registering? I'm curious. And I know you probably know a lot better than I do.
All right. So this is one of those kind of touchy subjects where some people are like, oh, this is not okay. And other people are like, no, this is the future. I'm not 100% sure because Amazon's terms of service read very gray in this area, in my opinion. However, if we look at brands like By the Cup on Amazon, this is their entire business and they do 8 figures or more a year. So Amazon obviously likes this, okay? Some brands will file IP complaints against you for doing that. I don't know about Liquid IV. If they're not filing IP complaints on their other listings, it's probably fairly safe.
Yeah.
However, there's a very specific way that you have to do this to make sure you're staying within Amazon terms of service. And unfortunately, I can't. I've been learning, but I can't give that out because that's information I've paid for from someone else. So is it possible? Yes. Just make sure that you're doing it right and doing a little bit of research on some other brands that are doing this properly and are very big should open up your eyes to some of the possibilities that are out there.
Boom. Makes sense. Will free USPS thermal labels work with the Dymo thermal printer? Absolutely, my friends. Everyone go get those free UPS labels. Just search UPS free shipping supplies, follow the directions on the website, get the first one that you can just manually check out, and then email them to get additional more. We're going to need those for Q4, especially with FBM because you're going to need a ton more labels for FBM. Is it possible only do OA? Of course. Any tips on what to do? Stores covering the barcode with their own labels. So if you're feeling a little cheeky, you can give it a little nudge, scan it right there, or you can scan the picture with the Amazon Seller app right there. If the barcode's covered, try to remove yeah, exactly. Right there. Yeah, completely agree on there. How much money did you start with when started online or retail arbitrage? I had $160 when I started reselling stuff way back in the day. Start with whatever you got though, right? Because that's the most important thing by a mile, is starting to learn the skills, starting to independently work on a business yourself, which most people will never do. Most people are too scared to ever do, right? That's the most important thing by far. Because if you become the type of person that can work on something for a while without seeing results, you can commit to the process, you will find the money to use, I promise.
Same thing holds true with wholesale, right? A ton of people ask, how much do I need to get started with wholesale? It's whatever you have, right? And you have to position yourself where if you find an opportunity that's potentially too big for you, do you know enough people to still take advantage of it, right? If you find a brand that's MOQ is 30,000, well, do you know enough people where you can send them a DM, tap them on the shoulder, be like, hey, I have this opportunity. Do you want to join me so we can still take advantage, right? There's no minimum requirement to do any of this, but you should know enough people where if you stumble across upon an opportunity that is maybe too expensive for you, you still can benefit from it.
If Amazon asks for a brand authorization letter, don't give it to them. Give them the invoice that they asked for in the box checked above that, because you only need to do one of them. Right there. Should one delete their listings once out of stock? Here we go. So I would say do it if it's a smaller brand that you have any inkling might IP complain. Right there. If it's like bigger brands that you're selling a lot of their products or actively sourcing other of their products, you're probably going to end up getting an IP complaint anyway. If they send it to you. And a lot of people end up missing out on replens and honestly just waste a bunch of time deleting listings, because what happens if a return comes through? What happens if, I think some of the best sourcing for people that have been at it a little while is just scrolling down and looking at their old Amazon listings right there. And if you delete your listings, you're not gonna be able to see that right there. So yeah, I'm not a fan, but definitely a fan of doing it if you're at all sure, or if you would all think that a specific brand might IP complain you in the future.
Distant Dawn. I am actually one of those people. I wish I was using a prep center from the beginning.
Yeah,
Miles is on the other side of the spectrum. Miles and I have had a couple of discussions about it, but I think it's based on, everyone values their time differently, right? If you're 45 with 3 kids, a wife, and, want to be going to soccer games and baseball games and maybe have a 9 to 5, well, that's a different scenario than if you're 16, dropped out of college to do this full time, and have all the time in the world. Right. So it's kind of a personal preference, so to speak. Obviously, it also depends on the state, depending on what state you're in. If you're in California, well, there's a lot more of a monetary advantage and motivation, that's a better word, to use a prep center from the beginning than someone in Pennsylvania or New Jersey or Delaware, or Oregon, right? They all have no sales tax. And so, yeah, I guess it's, take a evaluation of what's going on in your life and kind of make that determination with that.
Yeah, 500 units a month is a good baseline too, because then you can qualify for most of them. Corey gives a good blanket answer, and I think that's the best, honestly. But yeah, some will take you as a beginner, right? You're just going to have to work a little bit harder to get one.
Mm-hmm.
What number do you give sign up for texts on a company's website? So you obviously have your number. You have all the boys' numbers you can be using if they're so kind as to do that for you right there. And then, yeah, so you can use Text Now and Google Voice. Right there. Now those won't work in every case. They'll work sometimes depending on the website's cadence for actually delivering you the coupon. Some you can put it any random phone number and then it would immediately pop up the coupon for you. Blessings. Some will make you reply why, and then it's gets a little a little complicated right there. How can you list without a UPC? Just type in the ASIN, my friend. Have any of you had error code listing on generic? Not in a while, man. How does that generic listing stuff work? I don't really get it.
Don't list on generics anymore is my opinion. I'm helping someone out right now who got who's suspended for it. The problem is that lots of generic lots of generic listings these days are made to get around either hard gates or maybe trying to hide from an IP, a brand that is prone to file IP complaints. And so Amazon's taken kind of a hard stance on those. There's a lot of them where you won't even be able to list on those particular listings. And then there are other ones where you might get through, but eventually you might get burned on it. So I think you should just stay away.
It's a good
Completely
question.
agree.
We should probably go around the horn with.
Okay,
what
yeah.
is that?
Okay, things you could have done differently when you started OA. Started FBAing sooner. I mean, double down more on certain things that went really well. That's a very first world problem, though. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty like we were lucky where we started when there was a lot of, information
Mhm.
available, right? So it was way easier for Garrett and I than it was for Chris, just based on when we started and everything. But yeah, I mean, like I could always talk to more people, right? Could have always bought more of certain things. The FBA thing's huge, though. I would have made a bunch more if I had started at FBAing sooner. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think
Go
you
ahead,
probably hit it on
And
the
the
head.
problem is it worked out too. Yeah, so it's tough to, you know what I mean? It completely worked out too, so it's hard to give a good answer on that, I feel like.
I wish that I had gone harder faster. I was very timid. I was very, it was different for me. I was married when I started.
Yeah.
I needed to keep a roof over my head.
A lot less information available.
There was a lot less information available. And people back then were less willing to give information away. I may have told you guys this story, but when I started, I reached out to people and I was like, listen, I will come work for you for free. I'll fly myself there. I'll clean toilets, whatever it takes, so I can learn what your process is. And everyone was like, go take a flying leap. I'm not doing that. Today, if someone reached out to me and they're like, hey, I will fly to you and I will work for you for a week to learn everything you know. If I had the time, I might take somebody up on that offer, but and please don't DM me asking me that. I don't have time right now.
Well,
but
yeah.
But I wish I had gone harder, faster, because I probably would be further along than I am now.
What about you, G-Body?
Man, I think really for me, it's just the prep center piece. I just ate up so much of my time.
I mean, the man lived in the warehouse for context. Like
Yeah.
I was somehow I was scrolled down really far on my YouTube like 2 years ago, and it like you were in the warehouse. I was in my
yeah.
and Danny was in the red bedroom at his parents' house too,
Yeah.
and Warner was in the bedroom with
Yeah.
the camera that faced the bed and the dresser too. What up, Michael? Michael was at ASD. Generic listings before. Delete that from the catalog, please, Como. Yes. Is it hard to get on the Dangerous Goods program? So they just added your boy to that randomly. I don't know how it works if you're a newer account though.
You need to go apply for the Dangerous Goods program.
Oh, cool.
Or hazmat. I don't know. There's Dangerous Goods and there's hazmat. One of them requires you to apply. There's not like a test to take or anything like that. And then it's just a waiting game. That's all it is. There are certain people who have said that it helps to merchant fulfill some of those kinds of products, but I think that's a correlation, not a causation, if you will. So they just happened to get approved, and they were selling some hazmat products FBM.
Boom. How many products expected to do manual within an hour, and how many reverse sourcing for y'all? I know you have a VA to help source, but the number range would be appreciated. So it's not how many products you find, it's the quality of those products and how many of them that you buy, right? And the quantity of how many that you buy, that's going to happen over time. You're going to get more comfortable with stuff. But the quantity and the quality of products you buy is based on skill, right? So if you're new, one product an hour is good, right? That you can buy 5 or 10 of and end up making $50 profit on. Right? Over time, you're going to get better and better. So honestly, like it's just a tough question to answer just because, when you're new, you're terrible at this. And how would you be good at it? Right. So you just got to go through that process to get good.
I think that this question comes up a lot, and it needs to be completely reframed in the community. Because you're right, the per hour, the number of products per hour, I think is a bad
mindset.
metric.
Yeah. It's employee, because like then theoretically Warner doesn't spend any time sourcing and finds a shitload of products because he's trained VAs to do it. Right? It's like a whole nother thing.
Yeah, and You think about it this way. If I could buy just one product an hour, and if I buy 3 of them, it's going to make me $100 over the next month. Well, my hourly rate is now $100. It's the same as my attorney, you know. And if I go a little bit deeper and it makes me $500 the next month, well, now I'm making, you know, more than my attorney and my doctor put together. So,
yeah, I feel so used books. To send
Look at
companies
that picture. Oh my gosh.
some other brands there will be. Yeah, call it Warner Slippin'. Is perfume hazmat? Typically it
Yeah.
will be, but you'll have to check. Can I sell it merchant fulfilled? You're gonna have to check, but probably. After a year-long wait. Well, Armand, they saw you were doing numbers and now you're good to go with that. So yeah, guys, we'll be on for like 10 more minutes or so. So any questions you guys got, feel free to fire away. I like that the dinosaur is the last thing standing in the office, Chris. He said, get the books out of there. I keep the shelves, right? Well, the shelves are on brand, obviously.
Exactly.
Right? So you need those in there. And then just
He's a living metaphor right now. He actually cleared the
Oh,
shelves.
yeah. Mike
Someone
said that. I was
commented.
thinking, what was bro talking about? Okay, yeah, that completely makes sense right there. Yeah. You ever been to ASD, Chris?
yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I've been
cool.
to several.
Oh, cool. Okay, sweet.
Going
Yeah,
going to ASD literally changed my life.
really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
So I went to my very first ASD before I didn't have the money. I bought a Spirit Airlines ticket at like 3 a.m. for a 7:30 a.m. flight the next day. Like I didn't really have the money. I, bummed a hotel room from a friend. The networking there changed the trajectory of what I would do over the next 7 years or so.
There you go.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
So
There
I
used to be one in Orlando.
Oh yeah,
During COVID.
Yeah, because you went to that, G-Body.
Yeah,
I remember that. That was right when we started Lincoln. That was right when we were ripping the Flobies back in the day.
Yep.
I hear you say keep reporting on stock is inaccurate. It's gonna be inaccurate from time to time. More so, I mean the offers tab. Right there. How do you guys find your niche on Amazon FBA? That's the beautiful thing, my friend, is you don't have a niche, right? You can sell all different types of stuff. Now, naturally, you're gonna get used to certain sites, certain types of products. And such, but for the most part, you're not going to have a niche right there. Should I focus more on body wash and makeup versus apparel? It's just it doesn't really matter, honestly. It's whatever you're finding profitable that sells quick.
There's millions of dollars being sold in every category.
Yeah, every minute.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, now some are going to be more arbitrage friendly. Some are going to be more seasonal. It's going to be a hell of a lot easier to do toys. Right. If Amazon asking for an invoice for one product, but that invoice have 10 different products mentioned and purchased, it's going to be easier to get approved if it's just one. But if you submit it enough and underline, highlight, etc., or just hit up the specific company you bought from and say, hey, can I have one that just has this one? They'll probably do it, honestly, right there as well. Do you avoid selling product that Amazon is selling? If they're not sharing the buy box, yes. If they're sharing the buy box, then I'm cool with it. Right. It just depends how much they're sharing the buy box. Right. So the way you figure that is you go data and then buy box statistics on Keepa, and it's going to show you who's getting the buy box, how much, at what price, how often. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Arbitrage friendly sounds good and quicker for sales. Sure. I'll keep at it. Yes, sir. Glad you started putting sales tax. I know people were watching. Well, no. So I actually, in fact, I go back and forth between having it factored in and not having it factored in and then mentioning it because I don't want to scare people away and make it seem too hard, but it's obviously needs to be realistic in terms of what's shown. So I go back and forth between having it factored in on SellerAmp and mentioning it because either way I have to mention it because otherwise the numbers are it's a tough thing, right? And everything. So
you're talking about sales tax?
Having sale because it's different for everyone, right? Yeah. So everyone's numbers are different, but if I have it factored in, then I have to mention it still. And it seems less profitable. Or if I don't mention it, or if I don't have it factored in, I have to mention it anyway, and then it confuses some people and it's just kind of how it is. Do you stay away from newer listings that don't have a ton of data yet? Or if it's a solid brand, you just test buy? If it's a solid brand, test buy. And also too, if it's a solid brand, you're going to be able to look at it and have a decent idea of if it's going to be popular or not. You can look up like similar ones that look like that and such too. Maybe different sizes or different colors and such. Like that as well. Yeah, I'm actually, we had a little editing error in today's video, but I'll have a new video up for you guys in like 20 minutes probably on some more Labor Day stuff because it's really easy to source right now and I don't want anyone left behind on that stuff. KPF is good. I used to reverse source towards the beginning and stayed up for days, improving my KPF skills. Fantastic. Right there. You guys both got good videos on KPF right there. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So yeah, guys, we'll be on for 5 more minutes or so. So any questions you guys have, feel free to fire away. We're happy to help. It's important to note a lot of Labor Day sales probably gonna end tomorrow night or Tuesday night, depending. So you got a couple of days to really nicely execute on that stuff, really learn. You can watch some more of our content to help you source. And then the ultimate deals are going to be the ones where it shows a 25% off on the website, and then you go up to Capital One Shopping, or you dig around on Google, or you scroll to the bottom of the website and you can see, give us your email, you get 10% off, right? What do you do if sales are unknown for a product on SellerAmp? The same thing you do if the sales are known for a product on SellerAmp. Look at the performance of the product on the Keep It chart and the sales history right there. What happens to your inventory if an IP complaint from the brand comes in? Typically, it'll go to stranded. And then it depends if you contact the brand or get that IP complaint down. Right there. Favorite KPF search method. Products that are out of stock that have sold out in the past 30 days and or category-wide or big brand searches. Let me see what's going up in price. I'm curious your guys' thoughts on that because I know we all got different styles too.
There's so many different ways to get creative with KPF. I don't know if I have one particular favorite method. One of the lowest hanging fruit ones, though, is when you see a brand site having a sale. And I won't mention any particular brands because that won't be helpful. But
Yes,
if
sir.
a brand site is having a sale, pull up every single listing of that brand on Amazon and start seeing what's profitable. It's so much faster than typing them all into Amazon. You're going to find bundles. You'll find multi-packs. Heck, you can even focus on just bundles or multi-packs. Focus on just the ones that have, number of sellers going down or the price going up. Like, I don't know. You can get so surgical and so granular. Test what works for you and keep coming back to it.
That's another cool one though. If you pinpoint bundles like 2-packs, 3-packs, etc., and then map that back to single units, again, because that UPC doesn't match up 1-to-1, you're just naturally going to find a little bit more opportunity because there's just one little bit added extra layer of complexity.
Yep.
But the out of stock one for me is probably my favorite.
Boom.
I think I taught you that one, right, Miles?
I can't remember. I think I ran. So it was right when I got down to Miami, and I did a coaching call with it, and it was disgustingly good. And I was really excited about it, and still.
Yeah, and then you can pick up on those the dots of the buy box or the offers where someone finds it, brings 5 units to market, sells out immediately. Those products crush.
It paid my 4K on an ASIN. Right there. And a lot of just not buying good on uncommon discount. Yeah, I mean, that's, 4K is a lot for one ASIN, but you'll see how it goes and you'll learn a lot. And either way, we'll be back swinging tomorrow on it again. You ever deal with inauthentic complaints? About 2 a week for the past 2 years, all the time. And you deal with them. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass to submit all those invoices. That's why you need to be using SellerAmp Google Sheets to categorize all your purchases. And you'll be able to hit those invoices easy. Right there.
Have you noticed that at least for me, they don't ask for 365 anymore. They just an invoice showing 10 units.
Maybe I haven't been reading them correct then. That's clutch, man. I remember, dude, I had multiple 5 figures of stuff actually shut down for a month in February, and then I got it back. Luckily, they blessed me.
It's great when someone sends in an inauthentic complaint because, and if you really read close, it's after the holidays, and they're like, oh, this shirt doesn't fit, but I've always worn a large. And I'm like, no, you just gained 10 pounds over the holidays. It's not inauthentic.
Yeah, that especially I remember I got 4 in one day in January of 2022. And I was like, what am I doing? Then, you deal with it or whatever. And if you got a couple sitting on your account, it doesn't matter too if you're doing adequate volume.
They used to stress me out a lot, but now it's whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Where do you find VA? How do you train them? You train them by getting on Zoom with them, sending them educational content like this, giving them feedback, shooting Loom videos, etc. My favorite place is onlinejobs.ph, but if you take the time to interview, you can get one from Twitter, you can get one from Upwork, Fiverr, although this is more like gig work vibes too. Right there. Will Amazon create an issue due to IP change? No, because it's still your computer. Which I don't super know the specifics of the IP stuff. right there, but I don't think it'll be an issue. It's never been for me. Right there.
I've logged into Amazon from 4 different countries and never had an issue with that.
Cool. Good. Sweet. All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming on. Thanks, Chris, Garrett, for coming on as always. Right there. If anyone's watching this on Twitter, let us know because we got to start hitting that on Twitter as well. Chris got the Twitter stream going, which is pretty neat. Right there. And then just, you guys want to plug where people can find you too?
For me, right now, it's Twitter. That's the place I'm really trying to be the most active. I'm at Clear the Shelf, and I'm that everywhere. So
boom.
Oh yeah, this is cool. How it shows up live.
Oh wait, let me. Yeah. Wait, can you? Wait. I'm pulling that up too while we're on as well. Actually, okay, let's see. Cool.
Yeah, I never noticed that.
Shelf right here. Yeah, and then anyone, if you want a full step-by-step guide on getting started with all-in arbitrage, I made a cool Google Doc. It's in the description. You can go watch on there. Okay, yeah, the Twitter stream format looks sick too. All right, everyone, have a great Labor Day. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 5 p.m. Corey, Garrett, Warner, and myself. Be great.